and bright as a precious stone. You are a miracle to me, my sweet darling.
Tom Waddell is both a strong and a gentle man, a man of rare physical gifts and of rare sensitivity. Tom Waddell contradicts two stereotypes of the athlete and of the homosexual.
I really felt like I was the only homosexual in my entire high school. I thought I was the only homosexual in the world, the only person who had those kind of feelings.
He grew up in Wyckoff, New Jersey.
I liked who I was. I liked what I felt. I didn't want any of that to change. But I didn't want to be this social, physical, bizarre outcast. I wanted to be liked. I wanted to have lots of friends. And I realized the way I was going to do that was not through my intellectual capacity, because I didn't feel any at the time, but through an athletic capacity.
The Empire State Building, New York, highest in the world, attracts the three Jackson boys for their so-called daily exercise.
Tom's father, Gene Waddell, the one standing on his hands, taught Tom gymnastics.
Now he's on top.
And his mother taught him ballet.
I really wanted to be a dancer. But who were the dancers in the 50s? They were faggots. It was not something that I could identify with at the time. I was too frightened.
Instead, Tom went to Springfield College on a gymnastics scholarship, and then, after medical school and internship, entered the Army and revived and polished his athletic skills. At the age of 31, he made the United States Olympic team that competed in Mexico City.
I just could not believe this was anything but a dream, that I was there getting ready to compete in the Olympic Games.
Tom Waddell competed not in gymnastics, but in track and field's most demanding test of strength, speed, and stamina, the decathlon.
Oh, he's leading everybody by 30 yards. A tremendous performance by Toomey.
When teammate Bill Toomey won the decathlon and earned the traditional honorary title, the world's greatest athlete, Tom Waddell, the world's sixth greatest, felt he shared Toomey's triumph.
Mounting the podium is Bill Toomey of the United States.
I was just so pleased. I wanted to see him stand on that top rung. He was sharing that with me in a lot of ways.
And no jealousy?
Absolutely not, no.
He should not have made the team, but he did because he's that kind of guy. He's indefatigable. When he sets his mind on something, it happens.
After the 1968 games, Toomey and Tom traveled together to Africa, among many places, competing and conducting clinics.
After I was long gone and tired, the macho Olympic champion, he'd go that night to a hospital and work on patients all night long in tropical diseases.
Ironically, 11 years ago, when Dr. Tom Waddell told the world in the pages of People magazine that he was a homosexual, the revelation, he calculated, cost him only one friend, Toomey. He did not hear from Bill for more than a decade. Toomey was one of those not uncommon macho males who was made uncomfortable by homosexuality, who made cocktail party jokes about AIDS.
We say things we don't mean. We mean things we don't say.
And when you heard that Tom had AIDS, how did you react?
Oh, I was devastated. I really was. I tried to call him on the phone. I couldn't even talk because I was choked up so much. And he's a very valuable person to this planet. And I'll always, think that.
A few months ago, Toomey and Waddell were reunited, drawn together by the reports of Tom's AIDS. Toomey still found it difficult to accept Tom's homosexuality and his illness.
You're looking good.
I want to feel a lot better than I do.
You're going to make it. I know that.
Well, I don't know what that means anymore. But it's not a head.
You'll take 5 years, won't you?
I'll take 5 months.
Really?
Oh, absolutely. My head is in good shape over this. I need a new body, but my head's fine.
Because mine's not as good as yours.
Oh, no, my head, I'm not worried about death or dying at all.
In 1982, when Tom founded the Gay Games, an Olympics open to heterosexuals, but designed to promote pride among homosexuals, he met Sarah, a gay woman who shared his zest for sports and his desire to have a child.
I liked her instantly. She liked me instantly. And she'd been looking for the right person.
I've always wanted to have a child.
Sarah asked that she not be shown close up on 2020. She did not want to offer too easy a target for people who cringe at the idea of homosexuals reproducing.
I said, wait, I want a child. How would you like to have a baby with me? I felt like I proposed all of a sudden. It was not a typical scene, and he just got tears in his eyes and said yes right away.
We decided that when the games were over, we'd go away and we would conceive. And that's precisely what we did.
Before Jessica was born, Tom and Sarah got married. They do not live together, but they see each other almost daily, and Jessie splits her time between their homes.
We don't press anything sexually at her. There's a 90% chance she's going to be straight. Fine. Who cares? I don't care. And Sarah doesn't care. It's whatever she is. The thing is, we want her to grow up feeling that she loves herself.
When Jessie was born, Tom had no idea he had AIDS. But soon after...
Tonight, while I was brushing my teeth, I noted some white patches on my tongue. Sweetheart, I hope it's nothing. But there's a possibility that this is an early sign of AIDS. The horror I feel and the fear of leaving you before you ever really know me is my greatest concern.
Tom found out he carried the AIDS virus. He had ARC, AIDS-related complex.
And I thought, okay, I'm an ARC. Oh, I pray that I'm one of those ARCs that don't go on to form full-blown AIDS. Well, I lost. I was one of those that went on.
Tom's fears were confirmed last summer. 2 weeks before the start of Gay Games 2, he came down with pneumocystis, the punishing and painful lung infection that strikes AIDS patients. Still, Tom presided over the game's opening ceremonies.
If I had to crawl, I was going to be there. 2 days after I got out of the hospital, I threw the javelin. Got tuberculosis in the process. But I wanted my own medal. I didn't want anybody to give me a medal.
And you won?
I won the gold in the javelin.
Did you ever fail at anything?
Boy, that's a good question. No. I can't think of anything I failed at.
Tom's home, a converted gymnasium, perfect for concerts and lectures, has long been a gathering place for his friends, the people who are now making certain that he does not face his lonely battle alone.
That support system is just unbelievable.
In this city, if gays want to be proud of something, they need to be proud about their response to the AIDS crisis. A couple of things have been happening which worry me a bit.
His doctor calls regularly.
Terrific. But I had a low-grade fever the other day, and I occasionally...
Friends check in.
You've brought me food when I've asked you to. You've cleaned my house.
Yeah.
You've done my dishes.
Yeah.
You've given me lots of moral support.
Well, I love you.
I know you do. That's why I asked you to do those things, because there are times when I get down, and there's John. There's John to provide me with the kind of support that I need.
Tom's closest friend, Zahn Artman, moved into Tom's house when he learned that Tom had AIDS.
I wanted to be here to be of help to him. This is my guy, and I'm going to take care of him. And 10 days after I move in here, I'm diagnosed with AIDS. And I go to the hospital for a month. And I know it was upsetting to Tom that when I got out of the hospital that I didn't come back here, but I had the strongest gut level feeling I did not want to live or put Tom through living in an AIDS ward.
Tom almost died last winter. He endured a second bout with pneumocystis that still haunts him.
I don't want to get that. I mean, if I get that again, I think that'll be it. So when I get short of breath walking upstairs, the first thing I think about is, oh God, pneumocystis. And that's just a constant fear. Boy. Anybody wants to lose weight and stop smoking, they're going to get AIDS.
Tom can laugh at AIDS and at himself, but he was terrified for a while by the thought that he might have infected Sarah and Jessica. He agonized over whether Sarah should be tested. They debated the psychological impact.
And one evening she came home. I was babysitting. And she said, I've got something to tell you. And I said, oh, is it bad news? She said, no, I'm negative. I did it on my own. I didn't want to tell you. I just got the results today. And I'll tell you, I was just in tears because it meant Jessica would have been negative too. And I can't tell you what a relief that was.
Tom's father, who still lives in New Jersey, crossed the country a few weeks ago to visit Tom and Jessica.
There were times recently where my fatigue was so extreme and my shortness of breath was so extreme that I thought, I wish I could go to sleep and just not wake up.
I only wish I knew something either to say or to do that would...
But you're doing precisely what I need. You know, being loving and understanding. I mean, look, you and Hazel haven't condemned me, and yet a lot of AIDS patients' parents never want to have anything to do with them again.
I have a feeling, I don't know where it comes from, but I have a feeling that he will survive this. I don't know why, but I do have that feeling. I certainly have that hope.
Oh, man. Oh, please take care. I love you. And please give Hazel my love and a big hug.
Take care.
All right. You too. Bye, Gene.
Bye, Tom.
Realistically, Tom has perhaps a year to live.
I want to be here when he
Have a safe
dies, because I want to, you know, I'm good at holding hands. I've had 6 or 7 of my friends die in my arms.
All your friends, but they're going to miss you so much.
Our memories serve us well. Yeah, they will. But I have friends who have died that I miss terribly, but I get a great joy out of thinking about them.
And someday Jessica will look at pictures.
Same thing.
Can you
What
see
was
that?
Daddy like? You know, and there are enough people around who are going to say, let me tell you what your daddy was like.
Dick, here's a man who is considerate and noble even. I feel there's an air of nobility about him. I think a lot of people are going to wonder, though, if his daughter is at risk in spending time with him. She did not have AIDS.
No, I don't think she's at any risk at all. You know, casual contact is not going to give anyone AIDS, a child, a grown-up, anyone, even correspondence, camera crews, no hazard.
Right.
The whole thing about Tom, though, is, you know, he talks about the end of the memory he has of friends, and there's so many of us who are going to have terrific memories of him. What he's gone through, the courage he's shown. He's in the hospital almost every month, even now. And with everything else, he also has a lawsuit he has to worry about with the United States Olympic Committee suing him for calling the gay games the gay Olympics. But that's in the Supreme Court, and he might win that battle, and then he's got the other battle still to face.
There are not many people with that much courage.
He's a tremendous person.
What a guy. You know, I think we've gotten accustomed in 2015 to not using the word hero. We've been let down so many times. It's a word that almost has an edge that we like to avoid. It's become oddly its own sort of 4-letter word. And yet it applies to Tom Waddell. This was a genuine hero, a hero of humanics, if you will, and someone who I think that we at our college need to claim and proclaim and own and just be so proud that he is one of us and someone who can inspire us into our very best. A couple quick things about this film, and then we'll finish up with the first section here. You saw at the end of the film, right before the interview, that picture of that sweet little girl, Jessica Waddell Lewinstein. She was just not quite 4 years old when her dad died, which was just a couple months after this filming. And she is 31, I believe now, and still lives in the Bay Area, as does her mom, Sarah Waddell Lewinstein. And I had the great privilege to get in contact with them for a couple of stories that I wrote. One, the triangle piece that we have a print a sort of souvenir copy for you if you're interested on the way out. And there's also did a piece on the website for ESPN Boston, which you can call up very easily there. And in that second piece, I sort of built it around his relationship with his daughter. And she told me this amazing story, which was, I spoke to her, I guess it was about a year ago, and she told me that just a few months before, she had received a package in the mail, a box, that was addressed to her. She didn't know who it was from. And there was a letter that said, I believe these belong to you. And there was a shoebox, and she opened it up, and inside the shoebox were a series of cassette tapes. Now, this is a modern woman in 2014 or 2013 at the time, maybe when she got these cassette tapes. She didn't have the wherewithal to be able to play such a, an old thing such as that. So she decided to go over to her mom's house. It had one of the old boom boxes with a, ability to play a cassette tape. No one was home, and she just lay down on the floor, put the first tape in, and then listened for hours to her dad talking to her, to hear that voice one more time. She was not aware that these tapes had been made. There's reference in that video to the diary that Tom was keeping for Jessica, and that parts of that diary were excerpted in a book that Dick Schaap wrote called The Gay Olympian, which has some wonderful things in it, some problems in it too. But Jessica was not aware of these tapes. What had happened, evidently, is that you saw the big house that Tom lived in. A number of people lived in this house, and after he died, a number of people moved out, a lot of people packing, and whether it was on purpose or accidentally, someone took this box of tapes that Tom had made for Jessica, and they disappeared for years and years and years until this great moment. And so it was a very powerful story for me to hear this. And Jessica, I mean, she's just a delightful person. She and her mom are both actively involved in the gay games to this day. We'll hear more about that in about 15 minutes from Jeffrey Pike. And I had hoped that we might be able to have Sarah and Jessica to come out here to Springfield College, as indeed they did once before for a ceremony that some of you attended many years ago that we'll probably talk about later in the program. And I would love to cultivate a deeper relationship with them and this college. I think that our college should really be connected to this story very, very deeply. But they were kind enough to record a very brief greeting for us, and I want to close the first hour of the programming by hearing from Sarah Waddell-Lewinstein and Jessica Waddell-Lewinstein. Thank you.
Hello, Springfield College, the alma mater of my late husband, Dr. Tom Waddell. I'm Sarah Waddell-Lewinstein.
And I'm Jessica Waddell-Lewinstein.
And together, we are so honored that you're having this special day for Tom.
We wish we could be there to join you, but we're so grateful for you having this event on campus. I wish you the best of luck today and have tons of fun.
And although we're both not physically there with you, know that both of us are spiritually there with you. Thank you so much.
Or welcome back to the second hour of Tom Waddell Day here at Springfield College. For those of you returning for a second hour, we're going to try to keep things rolling with as much emotion and power and meaning as we did during the first hour, which will be a challenge, but we have a great, great program for the second hour. And for those who are just arriving, want to let you know that this day will continue on until noon. We will be breaking at 11 o'clock. We have separate programming. It's not cumulative, so if you need to go after this, you can, but you're going to be missing some awesome stuff in hour number 3. So I would urge you to stick around if you possibly can. So during the second hour, we actually have 3 elements now because we're fortunate to have the mayor of the great city of Springfield, the Honorable Dominic Sarno, has come with a special proclamation. We see how wonderful it is, the way the world changes, as I see Mayor Sarno out there high-fiving Rob Kearney. What a world we're in right now. That's fantastic. So thank you so much for coming, Mr. Mayor, and the floor is yours.
I was high-fiving Rob. I know he lifts about 8,000 pounds. I was hoping maybe I could lift maybe 200 or 300. That could help me out with kinetic energy coming forward. By the way, Rob, you and Marty did a outstanding job on Jim Madigan's connecting point.